wanted to give you guys a good tour of my garden that I've been doing and taking care of during quarantine. So I've created a little greenhouse tent. Honestly, it was to help protect my tomatoes from any animals or bugs and helping them ripen a little bit. So here I have my cherry tomatoes, and they are finally starting to bloom along the bottom side. You can see over here. And then all the new growth comes over the top. So I will keep my tents open throughout the day, especially now that it's 90+ degrees out, to let a little bit of ventilation. But inside here I have two types of tomatoes growing. I have my beefsteak tomatoes, and then I have my Roma tomatoes over here. Down here I've trimmed them to give them a little bit more space for watering and growing, and then that way the bushes are more at the top. And you can kind of see my one little tomato over here growing. And then over here, it's like a full bush. So I don't recommend cutting them as much as the other one because they don't grow as tall. And you can see in the insides, I have all my little tomatoes growing. So I wanted to film my little tomato haul for you guys and show how I trim them and what point of ripeness I'm trimming them. You can see that I kept the ones that are more on the orangey side. I'm gonna leave them for probably 1 to 2 days more. And then I've cut the ones that are more on the red side, bordering red-orange. And I'm gonna let them ripe on their own. Next, you can see I have that one tomato right there, and I'm gonna trim that guy off. So these are the tomatoes I just cut off the vine. You can tell that they're all not completely a reddish color. They are still more on the orangey side, so I'm gonna let those sit out for maybe 1 to 2 days. This is the fresh batch that I got to cut yesterday and the day before, and I've let them sit out for the last 2 days, and you can tell they're a gorgeous red color, ready to be eaten or cooked with. And you can also tell by the texture if they are a little bit too firm, that means they might need 1 day. Or if you like your tomatoes a little less sweet, then you can eat them. Or if you're gonna make a sauce, you can use them when they're a little bit on the softer, tender side. And then I've planted 2 planter beds side by side over here, and honestly this is the best decision I've made. These have been thriving and growing so well. In the first planter bed over here, I have cucumbers growing on like a little vine that I've staked, and then here I have some corn. I didn't realize cucumbers were gonna grow so much and so wide. They're actually growing onto my corns, but I'll give you a little deeper look. So right here, I actually have my first and biggest one growing. So you can see, they started off super tiny. So all these little flowers pop up, and this is where the cucumbers were start growing. And ever since I've had them staked higher, I've been able to let them have more airflow in the bottom, but that's actually been helping them grow a lot. And then for my corn, which you can see is like insanely tall now, I've only planted this maybe less than a month ago, and you can see how well they're thriving in the planter box because they've gotten so high, probably like 7 feet now. As of like 2 days ago, I've gotten the corn husks growing, which is super cool because the corn will grow in here. And I'm getting them on basically all of my, but it's so pretty. Okay, so moving on to my second planter box. This has a little bit smaller plants, which are actually thriving next to each other. They're not growing too much onto each other. I'm giving them enough space. Over here, I always keep the little tags. I'm growing red bell peppers. This one has actually been the hardest to grow for some reason. I do have one right over here growing. It's in a little baggie. So I keep all my bell peppers in little bags so that way nothing eats them. And you can kind of see these little flowers are new growth. My green bell peppers are actually doing a phenomenal job. I have 1, 2, 3, and then one back there. And then I have a couple little small ones in there. And then right behind these guys, I have more of my cherry tomatoes. I didn't have enough space in the bin, but you can see how many I have over here. This one's starting to ripen. These have been doing great. And then you have some more new growth. To my right, last but not least, for my gardening bed, I have eggplants. So these have been really interesting to grow. I've never seen how an eggplant would grow before, but I finally have a good example. These were actually flowers before they started growing. This one's finally starting to bloom. You can see the bulb. And you'll lose the flower. I have a bunch of little ones growing in too. So I have a lot of eggplant coming in. This is my zucchini plant. Currently, we are in the regrowing process. So you can kind of see all the new growth inside, the little flowers, those are growing. I'm getting new squash flowers coming in. I do need to trim these leaves. You can see that they're turning yellowy brown. I want to cut them off just to give them space for new growth. So I don't have any of them currently growing right now. I'll put some pictures to show you how they grow. And right over here, I have a newer plant. This one's actually artichoke. It was actually kind of dying a little bit, but I gave it a little bit more care, and you can see that it's green, it's thriving. It's gonna take a little bit to grow. Again, I always keep these little tags on them, and you can see on the back how long it takes, so about 120 days. We're probably a month or so in, so got some time. Thanks guys for watching this video. I hoped I inspired each and every one of you to pick up a fun new hobby during quarantine, such as gardening. This has been one of my favorite things to do, and it's honestly something that's super cost effective. You don't have to start big. Start with one plant at a time and watch that grow, and then eventually you can add on and build onto your garden. This has only been a 2-month in the making garden tour, and I'm so excited that you guys are able to see the progress that has happened. Every day I'm so excited to go look at all of the new growth. I also post all updates of my garden on my Instagram, and I will tag the link down below. That way you guys can follow and keep up with me. If you guys have any questions, please comment down below and ask me some. I'm so excited to be able to hear you guys' feedback and answer all your questions. I too was a novice at first, and I had so many questions, and now I feel like I can pass on some of my guidance to you guys and see your future projects. If you guys like this video, hit that bell sign for more videos just like this. Thanks for watching this video. I hope to see you guys very soon.